Welcome to Nerds Amalgamated, a podcast that covers the latest events in science, pop culture, and gaming.
I'm the professor, aspiring game developer, sci-fi aficionado, and completely and undeniably a geek trying to take over the world. I'll be breaking down the news from tech to gaming.
I am the DJ, a humble nerd, a big weeb,
and a watcher from the halls of the multiverse.
Just kidding. Anyways, I'll be breaking down all things comics to movies to anime.
Join us and stay hydrated as we quench you with witty banter, unintentionally hilarious hot takes, and trivia more fun than a night at the pub, courtesy of Nerds Amalgamated.
Hello, I am the DJ, and welcome to another episode of Nerds Amalgamated. As with me today, I have the professor.
I think they got that.
Uh-huh.
Considering we just did an introduction.
Yeah, I know. I just want to have some fun. Anyways, how are you, Professor?
And play some video games. I am good, staying dry even though it's not really raining. I was promised rain.
I know, I was promised rain and debris, but I'm seeing sunshines and clouds. What's going on? Have I been cheated again?
Nah, it's just a cyclone decided to stop off the coast. So
man.
The coastal suburbs are getting battered by waves, but we're a bit too far inland for that.
Yeah,
and oddly enough, the northern rivers of New South Wales are getting tons of.
Yeah, I feel cheated now. Like, God damn it! Hey, I've been enjoying a lot of crazy stuff that happened while the cyclone was dominating the news, like the Powerpuff Girls trailer that came out the other day. Did you see that?
I haven't seen it. Well, I haven't watched it. I have seen that it came out.
It looked absolutely terrible. I don't know why that person leaked the trailer, but my God, it felt like I just wanted to stab my eyes with a pickaxe. But the interesting thing, it got me thinking. Remember the other day you were talking about how YouTubers always make videos with like set photos and they get all upset about it the other day?
No, I don't remember this discussion at all.
I was talking about how writing off a project even though it hasn't been put into the screen or something along those lines.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember exactly. I might have been talking about something like that at some point.
Yeah, I
but I don't think it was the other day. I think it was longer ago.
Fair. But even if I grant you that about that, I will say this: after watching that Powerpuff Girls trailer and the behind-the-scenes footage, that would be that one time where I would just write it off immediately. And how stupid it was.
Well, at least they didn't waste their time making a full season of it, only to get cancelled before it goes to air.
Okay, that I agree with. That I will agree with. They didn't waste their time on it. But my God. And the crazy part is, as soon as the trailer came out, a few hours later, Warner Brothers decided to copyright strike it down immediately.
Yeah, they've been copyright striking a whole lot of stuff recently.
Yeah.
They've even been going after Minecraft videos that aren't actually infringing copyright.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's something to do with the music, which was made by C418, who is a musician, obviously. But he released the music under a particular license that allowed Minecraft to use it, but also left it open for other people to use it in their Minecraft videos.
Yeah. Damn.
So we'll see the mediocre Minecraft movie in just over a month.
Oh, God.
I'm really hoping they can make it actually good like the Mario movie was.
I doubt it. I mean,
yeah.
I doubt it, man. I mean, look at with the cast of characters they have and the costume design, the visual effects. Okay, looks decent, but yeah, I'm wondering how the human element is gonna fit into this. But we've got an interesting set of topics. We got scrubbing.
Oh, finally!
Thank you. We've got Scrubbing Your History, Urban Dead versus the UK government, and a biocomputer made of brain cells now available in Melbourne. So, Professor, you saw the Oscars this year, haven't you?
No, I haven't. I don't give a damn about the Oscars.
But, okay, But you must have heard what happened with the Oscars, the lead up to the Oscars, in terms of how Emilia Perez has 13 nominations.
Yep. And since I haven't seen Emilia Perez, I have no idea whether it deserves that. But
Well,
the reviews aren't the best.
yeah. Aside from the reviews, there was revelations coming out that the main actress made some very problematic tweets in the past, and most of it was from the political side of things. That include remarks remarks of the racist and xenophobic nature. And thanks to those tweets, they led to the significant backlash and a lot of her co-stars and directors distancing from her and her reduced presence in promotional activities. And some are speculating because of those controversies, Emilia Perez didn't win much awards for this year's Oscars. So, as a response to what happened, a lot of industry insiders have been reporting that studios and publicists are now emphasizing comprehensive social media audits as crucial elements of award strategies to prevent similar controversies in the future.
It won't work.
It
Everything lasts forever on the internet.
Okay, that's true. That's true. But then there is always the element of, oh no, you're taking away my right to speech.
Which is much less of a right than the people who like to go on about it think it is.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like, even in the US, which claims to be the most free speech country in the world,
Yeah.
it's still about the government persecuting you for your speech rather than not having to face consequences from the public. So you can go into a cafe and start ranting about something. They're perfectly within their rights to have you kicked out.
Although okay, even with those stuff, there is always the possibility that sometimes controversy or rage bait can be good in a sense, like in terms of it will attract attention per se.
Does it attract the kind of attention you actually want, though? Because there's a lot of places on the internet that started off being parodies and have become full-on serious, like they're now full of serious people who genuinely believe it.
Yeah.
Like flat earthers. Some flat earther groups started as parody or for the purposes of practicing your debate skills. And now we've got people running around spending thousands of dollars on experiments to prove the earth is flat.
And failing terribly.
Yes. One of my favorite documentaries, Behind the Curve, follows a flat earther group while they attempt to prove the earth is flat and fail to do so. And instead of thinking, hey, could we be wrong? They think we must have done the experiment wrong.
Jesus. And what's interesting is this is not the first time a celebrity has done these like social media posts that led to careers destroying. Like you remember James Gunn and how he was unceremoniously fired from Disney because of his old tweets.
Yeah, I'm surprised they ever let him come back.
Yeah, after an apology as well. And then there was Kevin Hart, when he stepped down from being a host of Oscars after a couple of old tweets resurfaced. And then there was what was the other ones? Oh yeah, Armie Hammer, who has been who's gone downhill to be.
Wasn't he accused of cannibalism?
I've heard that story too, but I'm not sure whether that's real as well. I'm not sure whether that's real.
Apparently, he was telling people that he wanted to eat. And also, just in the last few days, there's apparently, I don't know why people are reporting on this, but
Yeah.
apparently he signed up for a Grinder account. Who
Oh.
cares?
Although okay, with these amount of controversies that we're seeing, interesting question is why is Hollywood now prioritizing this sort of scrubbing for awards campaigns? Like why now? Why when it could have been done years and years ago?
Because people are starting to take notice and they think it'll make them more money.
Yeah, it's a public relations thing, isn't it? In
Yeah.
the end, yeah.
Because if your lead actor says something really controversial, or even not just controversial, straight up wrong, like if they come out making anti-Semitic statements or supporting
any problematic statement,
anything really problematic, like 4chan tier,
Oh shit.
then people are going to associate that with your company. So you
Hmm.
need to make sure that they're not going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, as I said earlier, like, could this move lead to increased censorship or just an unfair scrutiny of actors? I mean, I get the whole like, yeah, sure, it's award season and and you need to shut the hell up, but then at the same time, like, I don't like people coming nosing into my social media stuff. Like, can you imagine if I were to go through your social media and I report to news organizations like, hey, check out this guy's social media account and stuff. Like that's one dangerous element to
It's a public statement. It's not like they're reading your diary.
That's the problem though. Like, would you trust them to look into your social media account?
Yeah, because I don't say anything on my social media that I'm not willing to back myself on.
I'm not saying you. I mean, I'm not saying you particularly. I'm saying like as a to a Hollywood actor, for example. Like, would you trust them if you were a Hollywood actor and you said something? Like, let's say for
Again, you
example.
shouldn't be saying anything on social media that you're not willing to back.
Okay, but
And it's a public place, so it's not like if you give out your darkest secrets and you're a proud Hitler supporter on public media,
oh
what's the
shit.
difference between going on TV and saying that and going on Twitter and saying that?
I think it's the anonymity honest.
Well, that's still only pseudo anonymity because
Hmm.
you're still posting with a username that can be traced back to you.
Yeah.
And what if I tweet a photo of myself? Like, I know you can fake photos, but I tweet a photo of myself saying this is my Twitter account and I reference it on live TV and then I tweet Hitler did nothing wrong.
Oh shit.
Then that proves that that's my account. And I shouldn't be saying that if I'm not prepared to deal with the consequences.
The other interest with this sort of move is that should past social media posts define an actor's career today?
Let's reframe that. Should public statements define an actor's career? Yes,
Hmm.
because, like I said earlier, you're going to be associated with the company you work for. There is no company on earth that will let you get away with tweeting Hitler did nothing wrong and keep your job.
That's
Well,
true.
maybe Hugo Boss, but I'm sure they've changed in the past 80 years.
Yeah, and it's also interesting doing this sort of scrutiny to actors. It also says a lot about the growing influence of social media in the entertainment industry. I mean, remember the other day where someone said that casting decisions nowadays it's not based on how good is your acting, your line of work. It's mostly how many followers do you have on social media, and that's
Yeah,
how
but
you
that's
cast it.
always kind of been true. It's not what you know, it's who you know. That's why we get actors like Jaden Smith. Not because he's a good actor, but because his dad's a famous actor.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's gonna and yeah, the whole like nepotism is a very interesting line to take. Saying like, "Oh no, I cannot be cancelled because my dad's a famous celebrity."
Well, it's not even that. It's just my dad's a famous celebrity. Give me a job. And they
Hmm.
do.
Yeah,
And even then, it's still who you know because you still got to have those contacts to get into show business.
that's true. That's true.
Like, it's not like Daniel Radcliffe came out of nowhere. I don't think, from what I remember, his parents were in show business, but they were in circles with people like that. And that's how he got the part of Harry Potter. But realistically, nobody comes out of nowhere. Nobody is self made. It's all who you know and how you can leverage that to get an advantage.
Oh, here we go. I found it. It's with Harry Potter. So apparently, producer David Heyman met Radcliffe when he was at the theater with his father, a well-known literary agent whom Heyman was friends with.
There we go.
Yeah,
Friend of
he.
your dad gets you a job as Harry Potter, and now you're the richest child star in history.
Ah, damn. But this is interesting. It's this sort of measures. It's done during award season, and can you imagine this sort of social media history checks becoming a standard practice after the awards season? Because
I don't have a problem with that, with actors having history checks of their social media, because the rest of us have to do that too.
yeah, yeah,
The first thing somebody will do when you go and apply for a job is Google your name to find out if you've done anything controversial. And if they find you on Facebook, they will read your Facebook posts.
Yeah, that I can agree on. Yeah. So while this will be an interesting time to see how scrubbing your history will be more mainstream. But it won't be as crazy as what's happening in UK with Urban Dead and how the UK government has scrubbed that website.
That's very tenuous. You tried. I'll give you points for trying.
Okay, fair enough.
Have you ever played Urban Dead?
No, I don't think I have.
I did, probably about 13 years ago. I played for a little while and then stopped. And every now and then I think of it and think I should get back into it because it is an interesting concept. I think it's personally unbalanced. I think it's got some balance issues. Basically, it's a zombie survival game where every human is a player. So
Okay.
if you die, you become a zombie. And I've always thought it was unbalanced because when you're a human, you can choose to kill yourself. Like you can jump off a building and become a zombie, or you can attack other humans, which you're not supposed to do because you're a human. You're supposed to work together. But humans have to take out a zombie and then revive it, and then it can just go and kill itself again. And the item to revive a zombie into a human is pretty rare.
How rare are we saying here? Like Excalibur sword rare or
No, not that rare. That's like one of a kind rare. It's not that rare.
hmm.
Like, there are medical teams in the hospitals who specifically go out searching for this reviving item and then sit in the hospital waiting for zombies to come into the hospital to be revived. It's got a very unique community and it's been around for almost 20 years. But because of the new Online Safety Act in the UK, not the US,
That was
they're
a Freudian
going to,
slip.
yeah, brain fart. They're going to have to shut down in just over a month.
Wait, why? But why though?
Because even though it's a small project, it's got a small but dedicated and it's run by one guy. So he's looked at the Online Safety Act, which is new rules about social and gaming websites. And basically requires a few things like taking down illegal content. That's not really a problem for Urban Dead. But the big issue is that it's a child protection law, and the developer doesn't see a way to allow Urban Dead to continue as it is without a massive amount of work to restrict children from being able to play the game.
Oh wait, but the code for this game, it's old code, isn't it? Or is it
Yeah,
new
it's
code?
a 20-year-old web game
Yeah.
that is real time, but it is also running in a really interesting way. It's all button based. So it feels like playing a roguelike.
I mean, it would be pretty easy to I mean, even though it's online, but online code and stuff, you could technically change the code, can you? Yeah, sure, it's a
Yeah,
20-year-old game,
he
but
could, but that requires like 20 years worth of code
hmm.
is going to be massive technical debt. Basically, he's been
Ah.
building on the same code for 20 years, and it's going to ultimately require more effort than he's willing to put in
Hmm.
based on what he's getting out of it.
He hasn't earned any money from this, hasn't
He takes donations,
he? Okay.
and I think there is paid stuff, but I don't remember. It's been so long.
I mean, if we can if they can get enough donations, maybe they could for example pay him to hire people to help him out with the work. But that
Yeah,
could
but I don't think the fan base is that big.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a problem of having too many people, sorry, not enough people playing the game and donating to support adding in these features that are required. And he hasn't completely ruled out bringing the game back in some way. So it might be a possibility that sometime in the future it will come back, but it doesn't look like it's feasible to do that anytime in the near future.
It's crazy how a game like that has been is shutting down because of government overreach. Saying like, "Oh, we must do this to protect the children. Everybody, protect them." Even though there hasn't been any incidents that's been related to Urban Dead.
Well, Yes, but doesn't necessarily have to be an incident related to Urban Dead because someone could, there's all this talk about people using Roblox to attract victims.
Yeah.
Now, Urban Dead, by being a 20-year-old zombie game with no graphics to speak of, is going to be a much less, much less. Sorry, lost that train of thought. So people are using Roblox to find victims. And since this game has no graphics, it's going to be much less likely that you'll run into a child playing it. But that doesn't matter for the terms of the law. And ultimately,
Any minute now.
yeah, I'm not doing well tonight, apparently.
Must be the cyclone hitting you.
Yep, it's blowing my thoughts out my ears. So, why would they block this for children? Because it has the potential to be used to find victims. It doesn't have to be, but that doesn't matter in the eyes of the law. It's the same as, waving a gun around in a public place. You might not shoot somebody, but that's obviously a dangerous thing, so you're still going to scare people.
I mean, we could play the game. We could play the what if game till the cows come home. But to be honest, like the fact of the matter is, no one got hurt.
No one got hurt yet, and there are tons of examples of people getting hurt in other online games.
Yeah, and and there's always and as a result of those actions, there's always a reaction. Whether it could range from like financial punishment to condemnation from the games companies to
Yeah, well, in this case, if they keep Urban Dead up without making any changes, it will be fined massively.
wow, how did they say how badly?
I haven't looked into that, but the developer describes them as corporate size fines, and
Whoa.
he is one guy.
Yeah.
So it's just not reasonable for what is a passion project to make the changes required to comply with the Online Safety Act.
What's sad about this whole thing is the fact that given how the gaming industry is going right now with the layoffs, with companies going down, with terrible games coming out as of late, this sort of thing it puts another blow to the gaming industry.
Yeah, it's a bit of a blow to indie games, but I'm sure there will be ways to work around the Online Safety Act. It's just that in this case, it's not working.
Yeah. With what's happened in Britain, could this happen in Australia? From what you're
Yeah, there's nothing stopping an Australian law from making similar requirements. The government has certainly tried a few times.
And the other crazy part of this is going to be are we seeing multiplayer games dying dying sooner rather than later?
No, multiplayer games are so much bigger than single player games because you can make them into infinite money printers.
Yeah, the live service model, yeah, sure, with the multiplayer games, but then the free to play ones, they go down hard.
You'll just see more of them that are supported by big companies.
Yeah, that's true. So will you be playing this game at the on the final day or
No, I don't remember my character at all, so I think
uh
I'll pass.
fair enough. Anyways, on to our next topic. In Melbourne, an Australian startup company has launched the first, quote, commercialized biological computer made of human brain cells at a conference in Barcelona. The team behind it believe it could be used as a type of simple biological AI, but others are cautious about the technology's potential. So yeah, the product is called CL1, and it's filled with hundreds of thousands of lab-made neurons sized somewhere between an ant and the cockroach brain. It is primed to learn.
Ah, sweet. Horrors beyond my comprehension.
This was created by Brett Kagan, the chief science officer of the startup company Cortical Labs. Who says they can't imagine what the human neurons might be tasked with, and is excited to see what other researchers and tech companies might come up with. And this company is was one of the companies that have taught neurons in a dish to play Pong in 22. But yeah, so this sort of technology can be used for disease modeling or drug testing. But their ultimate goal is what they could be. But their ultimate goal is what they could have pushed to the conference to use these tiny collections of neurons as a type of biological AI. Yeah, and I know we've been bashing on AI for countless amounts of episodes now, but what do you reckon about this? You reckon this is the good side of AI or bad side? Still a bad side of AI?
Well, if it works as well as they say it does, I would be inclined to think that this is worse because this is a human brain basically, and we're still not sure at what point how much brains you need to have consciousness. So this feels like it could be a place for horrors beyond our comprehension.
You've been saying that for a while now. What is up with you? Have you been watching a lot of sci-fi movies without my knowledge?
First off, I don't tell you what I do at all. Second, duh.
But according to Dr. Kagan, this sort of biological AI could be useful in certain scenarios, such as medical research. And one advantage is power consumption. While current generation of AI models take extreme amounts of power to produce results, this one, the CL1, on the other hand, has few watts of power. And the second benefit is how brains can learn fast.
Yeah, it's obviously a long time before these will be truly conscious,
Uh huh.
but this is the beginning. There's a interesting one though. Fort Emporium on YouTube has been growing rat neurons and trying to train them to play Doom.
Oh shit! How'd that pan out?
He's still working on it.
That would be absolutely hilarious if they finish the whole game. But while this is going on, there is the ethics behind brain cells in a dish. So Sylvia Velasco, a stem cell researcher at the Murdoch Children's Research Institute, has used brain organoids to understand how the human cortex is in brains. She says the cerebral cortex best embodies the uniqueness of the human brain because it looks and develops differently in humans compared to other species. As scientists working on brain organoids, I think a lot about the ethical implications of my work. Right now, I think it is an unfounded concern. I think it would be a missed opportunity to not being able to system that has a promise to cure devastating brain disease. But at the same time, it's important that we evaluate and anticipate potential concerns that the use of these models might raise. But Dr. Kagan says while these potential concerns are also an issue, the field is too close to its infancy to know where the ethical line is. I don't know. I mean, there is the whole transhumanism argument you can put into that from the get-go,
Yep.
and then the other argument you can put into the stem cell debate as well. Like how young do these brain cells have to be? Like there'll have to come a point where most of these most of the companies would be like, okay, your brain has to be the age of, let's say, 18 to say 35 or 18-25.
Wait, are you saying that if they make a human brain that's hooked up to a computer, they
Yeah.
shouldn't show it adult content until the brain is 18 years old?
No.
Because I'm completely lost.
I'm thinking more like you know how you donate donate a body part, and they said you have to
Yeah.
be you have to be there's a certain age limit.
Right, so you're worried about people donating their brains to be put into computers.
Yeah.
No, because this is a custom grown brain. That's the point of using the stem cells.
Okay. But would you do it though, Professor?
Put my brain on a computer?
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
It'd be like it'd be like those brain in the jar stories we talked about a while back. I think this might be the answer to the brain in the jar problem.
The brain in a jar thing is basically just that you can't tell if you are a brain in a jar hooked up to a convincing simulation. So yeah, we could hook this brain up to a convincing simulation if we wanted. Would
Yeah.
that be ethical? Probably not.
The other interesting thing for this one would be, let's say for example, you donate a bit of your brain to the to build a. You donate your brain, okay, a bit of your brain to grow that brain into that computer. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the arguments you're gonna have to deal with? Like, oh crap! So which one is the clone and which one is the original? And if you were to see your if you were to see your clone brain inside the computer, go like, oh my god, it's my clone. What am I gonna do?
Yeah, I don't think these brains would be capable of that. I just hope they're not capable of feeling pain because having a computer brain that is capable of feeling pain feels like a bad thing.
Huh? Although, imagine you put that into an android. Ah.
Well, you need a much more advanced computer brain for that.
Don't worry, don't worry. Elon will make it. He'll make one. That's for certain. Anyways, we'll take a short break and we're back with the wacky movie and our shoutouts. Take it away, Professor.
Well, we've been talking about Res for the last few weeks. You can still get Res for 15% off with the code NERDS15 at drinkres.com.
Rez, don't leave home without it. So, on to our shoutouts. On the 2nd of March 2025, George Lowe, the voice of Space Ghost, passed away. He was not only the voice of Space Ghost, at the series Space Ghost to Coast, and spin-off Cartoon Planet. He continued to voice Space Ghost in several cameos in other programs for several years, following the conclusion of the series. He also made reoccurring voice appearances on Aqua Teen Hunger Force and Robot Chicken. Space Ghost, Lowe has served as the voice of Cartoon Network's merchandise phone sales line. Lowe performed live and in costume as Space Ghost during the Aqua Teen Hunger Force : movie film for theaters premiered webcast for Adult Swim, and we found among the extras the Adult Teen Hunger Force Volume 5 DVD. He died at the age of 67 following a long disease. He was inactive on social media for over a year prior to his death. You ever seen that show, Space Ghost?
No,
Okay.
but I do know it. The name is a reference. Space Ghost to Coast is a reference to Coast AM, which is an old radio show from the 90s about paranormal things.
On the 4th of March 2025, the 25th anniversary of the PlayStation 2 launched in Japan. Sales of the console, games, and accessories pulled in $250 million on the first day, beating the $97 million made on the first day of the Dreamcast. Directly after its release, it was difficult to find PS2 units on retailer shelves due to manufacturing delays. Another option was purchasing the console online through auction websites such as eBay, where people paid over $1,000 for the console. The console initially sold well, partly on the basis of the strength of the PlayStation brand and the console's backwards compatibility, selling the entire inventory of 1.1 million units in Japan by 31st of March 2000, less than a month after its launch. From its launch until the end of 2000 in Japan, its best-selling software was Ridge Racer 5, followed by Geki Kuken Pro Baseball. At the end of the century 1999, Tekken Tag Tournament, Kessen, Dead or Alive 2, and Jikyo Powerful Pro Baseball 7. On the 5th of March 1979, Soviets probe Venera 11, Venera 12, and the German-American solar satellite Helios 2 are all hit by off-the-scale gamma rays, leading to the discovery of soft gamma repeaters. In gamma ray astronomy, gamma ray bursts are extreme energetic events occurring in the galaxy, repeat the bright and most powerful class of explosion in the universe. And no, they will not turn you into the Hulk, for anyone stupid enough to believe that.
We don't know that they won't. No, gamma rays. Bad news. Very bad news.
Yep. So on the 5th of March 1979, a few months after the successful dropping of landers into the atmosphere of Venus, two Soviet space probes, Venera 11 and 12, then in heliocentric orbit, were hit by the blast of gamma radiation at approximately 10:51 Eastern Standard Time. This contact raised the radiation readings on both the probes from normal 100 counts per second to over 200,000 counts a second in a fraction of a millisecond. 11 seconds later, Helios 2, a NASA probe, was hit with those things. Shortly thereafter, the gamma rays inundated the detectors of three state U.S. Department of Defense Vela satellites, the Soviet Prognos 7 satellite, and Einstein Observatory, all orbiting Earth. Before exiting the solar system, the radiation was detected by the International Sun-Earth Explorer in halo orbit. Yeah, that's powerful. That's some powerful stuff there. Oh, Professor, what's some messed up moment in nerddom this time?
Have you heard of Radifor?
No?
It was a medicine made of distilled water containing radium 226 and 228.
Okay.
So basically radioactive material. It was radioactive water
Oh
that
shit!
they sold as a medicine.
That's a
And the company sold between 400,000 bottles in 5 years between 1925 and 1930. And at the time, the Food and Drug Administration couldn't outright ban it. They could only warn against it.
wait. Why couldn't they ban it though?
Because of the laws of the time, the power of the various US government agencies has changed a lot over the last 100 years. And a lot over the last couple of months, too, apparently. They advertised Radifor as a cure for the living dead and perpetual sunshine.
No way. So they marketed it as we can bring you back from the dead shit.
Well, presumably not, but probably more like make you feel alive.
So Red Bull.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yep. So there was a wealthy American, a socialite, athlete, industrialist, and Yale graduate who drank 1,400 bottles of Radifor, had his jaw removed because of cancer, and had to be buried in a lead-lined coffin when he died.
Damn.
When he was exhumed 30 years later, his body was still radioactive and measured 225,000 becquerels. A typical human body measures 4,400 becquerels.
Damn.
Yeah, it's not the only example of radioactive medicine, but it was sort of because it affected someone so rich and powerful, it became a lightning rod for getting the whole thing banned.
But I mean, damn, 1,400 bottles of that thing. That's an addiction.
Well, they're only little bottles.
Are we talking like shot glass, little bot? Like, from what I'm seeing, the picture right here, it looks like a shot size of a shot glass.
Yeah, it's a half-ounce bottle it converts to. I think that's about 4 grams. It's just wild that before the 1950s, people were just going wild with radioactive material, putting it everywhere. And it turns out that it's got horrible, horrible effects for your health.
I'm just amazed by it. Like, who knew doping was like? This is another lesson on why doping is bad for you. Because you
Yeah, be
may and
very careful with what you put in your body.
yeah, especially for the upcoming athletes.
Yes, hopefully nothing that athletes are doping with these days is quite as dangerous.
And finally, for our wacky movie, on the 5th of March 1996, The Arrival premiered. David Tui's The Arrival enjoyed its TV premiere on this day in 1996, 2 months after it enjoyed the original theatrical engagement in the United States. And here's the plot summary. Zane, a mild-mannered astronomer, discovers an extraterrestrial radio signal. After being fired from his organization for reporting it to his superior, he takes a chance on discovering the truth that his workplace is not quite what it seems to be, and a sinister conspiracy is at work. The aliens are keeping a deadly secret and will stop at nothing to prevent Zane from learning it. And this has Charlie Sheen as the main actor. Can you imagine Charlie Sheen in a movie like this nowadays?
Yeah, I'm not sure he can act anymore. Like, has he been in anything since like 2007 or whenever it was that he got?
the
No, wait, it
time,
was a bit later than that.
yeah,
But
way later.
yeah, has he really been in anything since then?
Uh, in terms of movie, his last role was in 2017, in a movie called 9/11. In terms of TV, his last TV appearance was in a show called Bookie, which is an which is made by the same one of the people that made Two and a Half Men. apparently. So he's still around. He's technically around. Just yeah,
Yeah, but nothing big.
yeah, nothing.
Not that this sounds like it was a particularly big movie.
Yeah, yeah. This movie prior to the film release, the working title was Shockwave. It took place primarily in Mexico, with additional scenes filmed at the Owens Valley Radio Observatory. The alien creatures were all digitally created for the movie by Pacific Data Image, and Charlie Sheen had previously collaborated with David Toohey on Terminal Velocity, and Toohey had written the main role in Turning for Shit to Star. The film itself was a commercial failure. It only grossed $14 million in North America against an estimated production budget of $25 million. Part of this was due to the high visibility marketing campaign for the release of Independence Day just over a month later, which went on to become a box office phenomenon. The Arrival had a rather successful run internationally, partly because Charlie Sheen still maintained high popularity worldwide at the time. And there was also a direct-to-video sequel called Arrival 2, which was released in 1998. And this was directed by Kevin Tenney, starring Patrick Muldoon as the brother of Charlie Sheen's character in the movie. David Toohey, director and writer of the first Arrival, was not given any credit for the sequel.
Yeah, just if you want to watch a movie called Arrival, just go watch Denis Villeneuve's movie from 2016.
Charlie Sheen's mention of Encyclopedia Galactica is a reference to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which has a cult following, especially in nerdy science circles, from the early 1980s radio series, novel, and TV show, before it got more mainstream recognition in the 2005 movie. Encyclopedia Galactica was also the compendium of human knowledge in Isaac Asimov's 1950 Foundation trilogy. It was being compiled by Harry Seldon's first foundation of remote planet Timerius. This book was also mentioned in Contact, Jodie Foster. This movie and Independence Day both deal with hostile aliens from another world, and both came out in theaters in 1996. 20 years later, Independence Day Resurgence and Arrival and Villeneuve's Arrival were released, although the latter had no connection with the Arrival, the Charlie Sheen one, beyond a similar title and dealings with extraterrestrials. There's something new from interesting there.
Yep.
Anyways, that's all we have for this week. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all our social medias. And where can they buy the Res drink, Professor?
At drinkres.com.
Just type in our discount code NERDS15 and you will get a 15% off discount. Anyway, stay happy, stay nerdy, and I am out of here.
Look after yourself and stay hydrated.